Hello students, hope you will be all hale and hearty there. You obviously confined at your home. Stay home and stay safe there. Yesterday we have done the preliminary part, the first part, the introduction part of the anime by Paul S. Buck there. The theme is revolving around a man's dilemma, a man's conflict between humanity, the duty towards humanity, and the duty towards the nation or the patriotism. And eventually we find that the patriotism is overpowered by the sense of humanity, obviously, in the kindness which is the bliss obviously in the world of humans. Now, the preliminary part is suggested. The childhood of Sadao was very much emphatic there under the tutelage of his father. And father was obviously a stringent man, a grey man, a serious man altogether, who never played a joke there. His house was situated at the Japanese coastal area, well above the narrow beach there, semi-square stone and surrounded by pine trees there. Sadao's father's main aim, or the chief aim, was obviously the education of Sadao, his child, who was his only son. For that, at the age of 22, he was sent to America to learn as much as he could in surgery and medicine. It means the dream of Sadao's father was to make Sadao a champion doctor or a surgeon, a distinguished surgeon or a doctor of the country Japan. The scene is set amidst the horrendous clouds of the Second World War, and when Japan was at war with America. That was the time, 1940, 1939, maybe the timing there. Now, the last thing which I explained, that Sadao returned back at the age of 30 from America. He went single but returned double there. He married Hana. Hana, his spouse, his better half. She too was a pure Japanese there, but she was in America when Sadao also went there to learn all in his surgery and medicine. He met Hana in America, and they decided to get double, to get hitched there, to get married there. But before Sadao decided that to marry Hana, he first made it clear, or it means he just came to know the reality that Hana too was a true Jap. And after confirming that Hana too was a Jap, then only he decided to get hitched over Hana. Otherwise, he would have declined. There. Now, the last thing I explained, that Sadao was confined to Japan only. He was not allowed to go with his battle troops to abroad or to battlefield. Why? Because General Takima, the chief of Japanese army, was medically treated by the champion doctor or the surgeon, the best doctor of the country Japan, Dr. Sadao. So he wanted him to confine, to stay back in Japan only, so that if any time, any day, if he needed his medical assistance for his physical problem, for which he was medically treated by Sadao, he could go, he could reach to his castle, Takima's castle, and could treat him for his health issue or the health niggle there, or physical niggle there. So he preferred him to or over the national services there. That suggests the self-centeredness of General Takima's character, single-mindedness, selfishness, self-absorption, I must say there. Therefore, and second thing, he was a scientist too, Dr. Sadao, so he was perfecting a discovery which could render the wound entirely clean. For that also, he was detained, he was held back in country Japan and was not sent with his Japanese troops to abroad to the battlefield. Now that was all whatever has happened. now resume the journey ahead of it. Clouds were rising from the ocean now. Don't forget that his house was situated at the sea coastal area there, okay, at the seashore. So the atmosphere will be very much dampened because the sea waves will be making the atmosphere, okay, very much conducive to dampness there. And now it was overcast. The day was overcast, and the dark clouds were hovering in the sky there. So now the clouds from the neighboring islands started their journey towards Sadau's home. Ocean, the unexpected warmth, dampness, moisture, warmth of the past few days at night drawn heavy fog from the cold waves there. So that was the natural thing that takes place every now and then at the sea coastal area there. Cold waves will be there of water obviously, and the hot water will be there. So it will obviously create a lot of warmth in the atmosphere, and the conditions will be overcast. So it will be a time when the moisture will be a lot of in the atmosphere, and the conditions will be misty, condition will be hazy, condition will be foggy there. So fog or the mist started prevailing in the atmosphere due to the movement of sea waves and the hot air which was prevailing in the surroundings there. Okay, from the cold waves, Sadao watched mist as hide outline a little island near the shore, and then come creeping up the beach below the house there. And Sadao, who may be in the room, okay, which was situated at the sea facing area of his house there, he could see that the journey by the group of clouds started started from the neighboring, from the adjoining, from the nearby islands there. And the mist was so acute, was so great, was so enormous that so far he could see. Before a minute or two he was able to see an island, but now that island was hidden, okay, by the mist, by the fog, okay, by the haze there. And soon that fog or the mist or the cloud of mist or haze will be reaching towards his home, or to his home. So the mist, the cloud of mist or haze which started the journey from the neighboring island there will reach to his home in a minute or two, in a 10 minutes time or so. So that thought that for those dwellers, okay, that was a routine scenario. Therefore he could anticipate, therefore he could easily assume that what is going to happen next there. He could see the mist, the cloud of misty clouds at a fair distance, but after 5 or 10 minutes or so he knew that will be the clouds of mist or haze would be engulfing his house also within 5 or 10 minutes there. With waves, Sada was mist hide outlines, outer part of a little island near and the shore, and some creeping and then come the fog, come creeping, climbing up, creeping, crouching up there, in the soaring up in the air, okay, in the beach below the house, wreathing around, weaving around, weaving, spreading around, scattering around the pine trees. It means in a wee while, the entire surrounding as well as the house of Sadao would be in the grasp of mighty mist or the mighty haze or the fog. Conditions are overcast, atmosphere were misty, and the fog was prevailing each and every place there, and the entire surrounding of Sadao's home would be engulfed, swallowed by the mist and haze or the fog. He assumed that, he surmised that, Sadao surmised that. The house around the pines, in a few minutes fog would be wrapped about the house, and in a wee while the fog would be wrapping, okay, would be going all around his home too. Then he would go to Hana, into the room where Hana, his wife, would be waiting for him with 2 children. And the moment the condition will be more foggy there, his house will be wrapped with fog. At that moment, he will be going to Hana's room, where she will be. Hannah, the wife of Dr. Sadao, she would be waiting, for Dr. Sadao with his two children there. Dr. Sadao scored two children, remember. Two children, of the which, and this Sadao was being kept, that was over, his wife and two children. But at this moment, the door opened and she looked out, a dark blue woolen houri over her kimono. You think of devil and the devil appears. You were thinking of Hannah, and she appears there. Now two children were asleep. You were thinking of Hannah, but Hannah thought, let us move to Sadao herself there. So she was looking absolutely gorgeous there in her traditional Japanese dress, that is kimono, and gauri. Hauri, it is a gown. Hauri, it is a gown there. So she was wearing a gown over kimono, a traditional Japanese outfit, and obviously looking very much beautiful. And opened, but at this moment the door opened and she looked out, a dark woolen hauri, a gown she wore, and over her kimono. She came to him affectionately and put her arm through his as he stood, smiled and said nothing there. Now Sadao, whose focus was there at the sea mist, at the sea fog, at the misty condition all around, suddenly his whole attention from the foggy atmosphere, revert back to his wife Hannah, who was standing close to him, and she put her hand affectionately, lovingly on his arms there, and therefore Sadao has to motion back the smile back to his wife there. And then knee showed and creeping up, came to fall. He had smiled and arm to him, his as he stood, smiled and said nothing. It was not a moment to speak words. It was a moment, to feel something there between husband and wife. He had met Hannah in America. This is the thing for the readers, that first time Sadao met Hannah, not in Japan, in America. Don't forget that between 22 to 30, Sadao lived in America, and during that time only he met his life partner Hannah in America. But he had waited to fall in love with her until he was sure she was Japanese there. I told you reason for that. Let me tell you why he first confirmed whether Hannah was a Jap or not. Then only he fell into love with her because of his father. Sadao's father was a true Jap. Was it conventional Jap? Was it traditional Jap? Was it die-hard Japanese? Sadao's father, had not allowed Sadao to get hitched with Hannah, she would not be a true Jap there. Therefore, first of all, Mr. Sadao made sure Hannah was a Japanese, then only he fell in love with her, because he knew that his father would not have allowed Sadao to get double, to get married, to get hitched with Hannah if she wasn't a pure Japanese. Obviously, every person wants that the marriage of their son and daughter must be in their own community. That is understandable. But at the moment the door opened and his father would never have received. That was Japanese. His father, Sadao's father would never have received her unless she had been pure in her race, unless she was a pure Japanese there. That was quite a simple thing. Married in a race, he wondered often whom he would have married if he had not met Hannah there. It means love. The conjugal love between Sadao and Hannah was absolutely exemplary there, made for each other, born to marry each other like that. So Sadao many times thought that whom did he get married if he would not have met Hannah there, like that. Exaggeration there. Girls were many. Hannah, and by what luck he had found her in the most casual way there. You see, when we talk about the circumstances in which first time they met, that was quite casual there. At an American's what can say, professor in America, Professor Harley's home, okay, professor of anatomy, okay, first time he met Hannah there. And that day, when he first time met Hannah, he didn't really incline to go to Professor Harley's home. But somehow, due to some unknown inspiration or the motivation, he decided against his wish, okay, let us go to Professor Harley's home that day. And that day only, okay, in a very unusual, casual condition, he met his spouse, he met his better half, he met his life partner, Hannah, in a very, what can say, unusual manner. He didn't want to go that day to Professor Harley's home, still he went there. Who knows, that was his wish there. He wanted to get a meeting between them. Therefore, he forced, he impelled, okay, Dr. Sanao to go to that particular day to Professor Harley's home. There, okay, he met Hannah. Wandered often casually, by chance, literally, at an American professor house there. The professor and his wife had been kind people, anxious, worried, okay, to do something for their few foreign students, and the students, though bored, had accepted this kindness. Now had often told Hannah how nearly had not gone to Professor Harley's house that night, the rooms there. Now, you see, Professor Harley's, okay, well, the person where, okay, Sadao met Hannah first time at his home there. Okay, Americans in those days were very much prejudiced, very much biased there, biased by the complex that they were superior. But Mr. Harley was different. Okay, was different from the rest of the Americans there. He was very much anxious to do something for a few foreign students there from the country Japan also. But student didn't like too much softness, too much sympathy, too much what you can say, the cosmopolitan behavior of Mr. Harley there. They got bored there because there was nothing great at his home there. Three things are mentioned in the coming line, which were obviously the disadvantage, the drawback of Professor Harley's home. Please mind those three things there. Something for their foreign student he accepted, and how nearly he had not gone to Professor Harley's home that night there. That night, when he first met Hannah, he didn't incline to go there. I already explained, but due to some unknown inspiration, motivation, impulsion, he went to Professor Harley's home that night there. There, first night, he saw Hannah when he met Hannah. Okay, and what were the drawbacks or the not great likings of Professor Harley's home by the many of the foreign students? Because of three reasons. First reason was the rooms were very small. You see, when we talk about the students liking, okay, to that particular place there, okay, which place they wish to be, okay, and what type of things or what type of facilities they wanted to avail in America while they stay, okay, there, they didn't like it at all there. Professor Harley's home, okay, was not a haunted place, okay, but prolifically visited place by the foreign students. Why? Because of the three reasons. First of all, the rooms at Professor Harley's home were small, underline it. Second one, the food wasn't great there, was bad actually. In fact, food was bad there. So, rooms were small, so obviously no one wishes to go there. And second thing, the food was so bad availed by the couple, Professor Harley and his wife. They could not serve a good meal, good quality food to their foreign student. Therefore, they didn't like to be there. And the professor wife, the third reason, so voluble, loquacious, voluble, spoke loudly a lot, spoke too much and spoke loudly. That is called voluble. And obviously that was the third reason. So rooms were small, the food was bad, and the Professor Harley's wife was very much, voluble, very much loud she was, very much loquacious she was, very much outspoken she was, spoke a lot and spoke loudly every time. And the students didn't like these three things there. Okay, these three things: room small, food was bad, and the wife was voluble. But he had gone, and there he had found Hannah. But still, he went there for some unknown reason that day. Who knows? Even the God wished that they both should meet there that particular day. Hannah, a new student there, a new student. This is the only line where we witness something about Hannah. Rest of the chapter, not a single line describes what was Hannah, what she was doing in America in those days when Mr. Sadao was receiving his training or his all knowledge of surgery and medicine. She was a student, new student, hardly so. Beyond that, nothing is mentioned in the entire chapter. New student, and had felt he would love her if it were at all possible. And you love at first sight that the moment he saw at Hannah, and decided, committed that he would be loving her if it is possible. It is possible if he gets the same review, the same liking from that side also, from Hannah's part also. He decided at the very first meeting that he would marry Hannah there. Now he felt her hand. Now flashback over, and the journey of the present time started again. Now he felt her hand on his arm and was aware of the pleasure, the happiness, the ecstasy, the elation it gave him there. Now the simple thing, the natural thing there, the touch of wife gave a lot of elation, lot of happiness there, cheers there, to Sadao. When he felt Anna's hand over on his arm, he enjoyed it. It gave, even though they had been married years enough to have the two children there. Love is unconditional and love is timeless. You can't say that because they had married for 10-20 years, therefore there was nothing left between them there. Ridiculous that thing. Though they have got two children there, they have married for almost 10, 12, 13 years or so, but still love between them was as exemplary as it was on the very first day there. Pleasure to it gave him that had been married years enough to have two children, for they had not married heedlessly in America there. Obviously they didn't heedlessly means carelessly. Unattentively. Unattentively here doesn't mean carelessly. Heedlessly means casually. Heedlessly means here casually. That day Dr. Sadao didn't want to go to Harley's home there. Still he went there. First he saw Hannah and decided there. It was not pre-planned there. Their marriage was not pre-planned. Dr. Sadao didn't want to go there. Still he went there. It is called heedlessly. Heedlessly in America. They had finished their work at school and had come home to Japan. And whatever schooling they have done in America for research in medicine, Sadao, and Hannah for some other educational stuff there, they completed their study and both of them returned back to their own native land, that was country, Japan there, when Sadao was around 30 years of age. Japan, and when his father had seen her, the marriage had been arranged in the old Japanese way. Although Sadao and Hannah had talked everything over beforehand, they were perfectly happy, and she laid her cheek against his arm there. Sadao told his father that, "Father, I met Hannah in America. She's a pure community girl. She's a pure Japanese. And whatever you like, these things we can have in our family also." Then father complied. Then father agreed. No issue there. I'm happy. If you wish to marry Hannah, no problem, no issue whatsoever from my part. Then the marriage of Hannah with Sadao, Sadao with Hannah was carried out in an old traditional manner, old conventional Japanese manner by father Sadao. And before they got married, everything was discussed, everything was told openly by Sadao to his father, so that there wasn't remaining any sort of confusion, any sort of doubt in the mind of Sadao's father that something was hidden, something was kept from him there. Everything beforehand, Sadao revealed to his father what has happened between them in America. Then Sadao's father, being a traditional Japanese, a true Jap there, carried out the marriage ceremony of Sadao with Hannah in an old traditional Japanese manner. that was Mary's time over, the current time started again. Now, perfectly happy, she laid her cheek, Hannah laid her cheek against his arm there. She kissed on the arm. Hannah kissed the Sadao on his arm there. It was at this moment that both of them saw something black come out of the mist's fog haze. It was a man. He was flung up out, thrown out, catapulted, thrown out of the ocean. When both of were having a good time between them, suddenly their eyes were there, darted towards the seashore, and they were able to see something black flung out, thrown out, prized out of the ocean, and they deduced that they came to the conclusion that there was a man who has catapulted out from the ocean there. Flung. It seemed to his feet by a breaker, and now after he was thrown out of the ocean, the man, he started just moving weakly on his feet. But suddenly he got some stone. He bumped against. He got some stone to bump against. It was a man. He was flung out of the ocean. Flung. It seemed to his feet. By a breaker. Maybe some stone there. He staggered, stumbled, not to move properly, not to walk properly. The man who has thrown out of the ocean was not able to walk properly. Staggered at a few steps, his body outline covered against the mist there. And again, for a second or two, both of them were able to see that man who was thrown out of the ocean, and then again that particular mist which was prevailing around them was able to hide that man again. His arms above his head, and then the curled mist the spreading mist hid him again there. So now first hid the upper part here, then because he was moving in that manner, so he they were able to see the raised arm of that man, and after that the entire body of Mr. Unknown person who was thrown out of the ocean, the entire body of him was absolutely concealed by the mist, by the fog, by the haze prevailing outside of Sadao's home. "Who is that?" Hannah cried. She dropped Sadao's arm, and they both leaned, bent over the railing of their veranda. And now the happy time over between husband and wife there, and now both of them were focusing there on that man who has been thrown out of the ocean there. And they started moving. She dropped over his arm from the shoulder of Sadao, and they inclined, bent towards their gallery, their veranda, so that they can see more watchfully, more clearly who the man thrown out of the ocean. Who the man bailing out veranda. Now they saw him again. As they had dragged themselves closer to that veranda, so the proximity between them was getting closer to each other, and they were able to see the man again, railing of the man again. The man was on his hands and knees crawling, and the man right now was there crawling, creeping on his knees as well as on his hands. And then they saw fall on his face and lie there, and eventually he was absolutely drained out. He may be terribly wounded, that man. After walking on his staggering for a feet or two, then he was climbing, crouching there, and then he just fell on his face down. He just fell down with his face on there. It means when Sadao and Hannah would be reaching at the sea coast, they would not be able to see the face, because he was lying face down. The man was on his hands and knees, crawling on his face down. A fisherman, perhaps, Sadao said, washed from his boat. Came out of his boat. What may be the assumption? What may be the reason of his assumption that he may be a fisherman? Because adjoining of Sadao's home were the establishment of the fishermen. They were the dwellings of the fishermen. So he guessed probably he is a sailor, he is a fisherman, might have been thrown out of the boat because of the high tide in the ocean, because of the high tide of the ocean. He ran quickly down the steps, and behind him Hannah came, her wide sleeves flying, because howdy she was wearing, or both of them were running toward the sea beach to see who the man had come out of the ocean, or the howdy or the kimono, howdy more definite, was flying in the air when Hannah was giving a chase, giving a sprint towards that man after Sadao. Okay, a mile or two away on either side there were fishing villages that I already explained. Adjoining part of Sadao's house were replete with fishing villages. So they guessed that may be a fisherman. But here was only the bare and lonely coast there. Bare and lonely coast there, I mean there was no availability in good number of the fishes to that particular seashore. It was all bare, it was all lonely shore. Coast, shore, dangerous with rocks, it was spiked with rock. The seashore of Sadao's home was spiked with, S-P-I-K-E-D, with very much sharp sea rocks there. The surf beyond the beach was spiked with rocks. I already explained it. The surf means a feet or two inside of the ocean. Okay, there were sharp sea rocks there. That area was replete with the sharp sea rocks, and the fisherman could hurt himself badly if he reaches there, if he goes there. Okay, for fishing. It was not a suitable place for fishing. The place, the seashore where Sadao's house was situated. Somehow, the surf beyond, somehow the man had managed to come through them. Them refers to those sharp sea rocks, here refers to them. Through those sharp sea rocks, the man somehow managed to make a ways into it. And he must be badly torn, he must be seriously wounded. Be torn, seriously wounded, because he might have come with a great struggle, okay, between those sharp sea rocks there. So wherever he would be moving, the sharp sea rocks must be having a bruise of his body, of his skin. So that person's body must be torn due to the sharp sea rocks. Who guessed that? Who guessed that? Dr. Sadao guessed that. Okay. Enough for today. Enough for today.